We are now on air. Time for a total takeover.
It's finally here. Welcome to a new episode.
It's about to go down.
Good morning. God bless you and yours. It's yours truly, Dan Adams, a.k.a. the Soulful Conservative, the DA, the prosecutor, and the newly minted voted individual here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yes, it is primary Tuesday here in Pennsylvania, and I just voted. Hope you get out there and vote today as well. If you're a resident here in the state of Pennsylvania, do your civic duty. And what's also a great thing about voting is I don't have to tell you who I voted for. Isn't that wonderful? But maybe I will at some point, but I don't feel like it. How about that? It's titillating Tuesday. So I'm coming at you in such a way, you're probably like, man, what's up with Dan? Is he hot? No, I'm good. Just had how you have sometimes just these revelations in life and these epiphanies and awakenings and whatever you want to call it. And I had one of those this morning. First of all, giving honor to God and to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to see another day. And I just realized I just accepted me for who I am. The way I look, my scars, everything about me. No more hanging my head low, no more demeaning myself, no more thinking I am of lesser value than anyone else walking this planet. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I've accepted me for me. And I hope you do the same if you've been struggling most of your life or whatever part of life that you have been struggling with accepting yourself. Well, guess what? God made you. He made you and blessed you. And he put you on this earth for a reason. And whatever talent, whatever vehicle of inspiration that he may have blessed you with, I'm just asking you to just put it out there. Put it out there in the universe and just say, God is good. Now, there's individuals who think that God doesn't exist and want to take matters into their own hands, like murdering babies in the womb. Bills that are in place right now that after 30 days of the birth of the baby, they want to have the right to murder that baby. California, the land of fruits and nuts. And we also have the situation with this baby formula shortage. And I posted on social media, I believe last night, and I'm paraphrasing. So the left wants to murder babies in the womb, outside of the womb, and starve them without having the ability to have baby formula. And everything is coming out, ladies and gentlemen. I need to adjust my camera. Hold on one second. There we go. Things are coming out now, and it is blowing my mind. Because now I'm halfway here. I'm halfway ineptness and just sheer do not have a clue of what they're doing as far as the Biden administration. Or it is all intentional. It is all by design. And their end goal, to be honest, the only thing I can think of is somehow in some way transforming America into the point where we are totally reliant on the federal government. I don't know what else there is. Because when you start taking away, when you start putting measures in place where you would have never thought of in 1,000 years, exaggerating a little bit, but you would have never thought in the last 5 or so decades that baby formula would be unavailable to those families who need it and need to feed their babies. Am I wrong? Am I totally, completely and out of the ballpark in thinking that and posing that question? I have no idea why my camera is shaking as much as it is this morning. But I know I need to take a look at something while we're doing this. See, this is called on-the-fly troubleshooting. But we're going to continue on and proceed to give you what you need. Now, back to the ineptness and, sheer this downright evil coming from the Biden administration and the decisions that they're making, and the left and the mainstream media completely going out of their minds out of a draft of a decision. They haven't even heard arguments and made a final vote in regards to overturning Roe v. Wade. But like I said, this is their mantle. This is their bread and butter. This is the ultimate in regards to freedom and pro-choice and everything else you could think of from the left and mainstream media. And that is the murdering of babies in the womb and outside of the womb. Now, I voted today. Pennsylvania, please get out and vote. It's primary Tuesday here in Pennsylvania. And it's going to take a lot of effort. And I'm hoping for the person that I voted for, and people that I voted for, so not person, but people that I voted for eventually win. And come the general election in November, I hope they have the backing of the Republican Party and the GOP here in Pennsylvania and across the country. And I'm not sure how going forward, and I don't have a crystal ball, none of us do, but if the candidate that I voted for does not win, am I obligated? Wow, that came out really, whew. Am I obligated? That sounds more like me. Am I obligated to throw my support behind that candidate? That is totally up to you, but I'll tell you what, as a conservative, a Christian constitutional conservative, I will never pull the lever for a Democrat unless that Democrat shares the same values as me. Point blank, end of story. And I know some people out there are probably thinking, so then you're going to put support behind someone that you may not have voted for if things were in a different situation. Well, yeah, because you're seeing what the Democrats are doing to our country, right? You see what former Vice President Sleepy Joe Biden and his administration is doing to America, right? So, do you want Congress to have a Democrat-led majority so they can try to continue to take America down this rabbit hole, into this cesspool, into this utter, and I mean this utter debauchery of evil, this axis of evil, as one president said in the past, this apex of evil? Do we want to continue to go down this path, ladies and gentlemen? I certainly don't. And don't think that just because I'm voting Republican that I have 100%, without a doubt, confidence in the GOP, because they have failed us in the past when we've had majorities. So, as you go about your day, ladies and gentlemen, think about this. Think about how you can impact someone else's life. Not by being preachy, not being someone, up in the pulpit, the bully pulpit, as they say. No, you can just give someone a kind word. Recognize someone's struggle. Having the ability to listen race are important. And as I get older, they're becoming more apparent and important to me. So, whatever you can do to impact someone else's life today in a positive way, I'm asking you to do that for me as a favor. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to end today's show because I want to bring you a video clip blitz. And I want to just share this final thought with you. And it's pretty sweet and simple. Whatever you have going on in your life that is you feel is out of control and you can't seem to put your arms around it, leave it at the feet of God and leave it alone. Peace.
People assume that I've had difficulties when I've been around members of my race. It's just the opposite. The only people with whom I've had difficulties are white liberal elites who consider themselves the anointed and us the benighted, as Tom Sowell would say. I have never had issues with members of my race. And this is a question I ask young people, particularly members of our race, my race, afterwards. I say, now explain to me after 3 hours one thing you heard that you found objectionable. And the answer is invariably nothing. And I said, well, what is it those people who are doing all this and printing all this negative stuff, all this flack, what don't they want you to hear? Because they haven't changed me. What is it they don't want you to know? We are to conduct ourselves better than they conduct themselves. One of the things I say in response to the media is when they talk about, or especially early on, about the way I did my job, I said, I will absolutely leave the court when I do my job as poorly as you do yours. And that was meant as a compliment, really.
I think we've neglected this side of the room.
Oh, gosh.
All the way over here, yes.
It really is good to be me. It really is. I'm sure you can quibble, but you will not see the utter destruction of a single nominee. You will also not see people going to other people's houses, attacking them at dinner at a restaurant, throwing things on them, which we had when Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed. They were throwing things. They didn't realize it was Justice Ginsburg and Justice Kagan. They were throwing stuff on the car when they left. And you hear very little of that. They were banging at the door of the Supreme Court like it was storming the Bastille or something. But you hear very little of that. And it's underreported. But
American parents are really, really understandably upset about how their kids are being treated in all these woke schools and these woke school boards that have gone totally crazy, especially with the transgender issue. A lot of us are upset, and we're going and speaking out rather boldly, rather loudly, and that's totally allowed, right? Well, maybe not. Last fall, the Attorney General of the United States wrote a very, very creepy letter. Take a look at this. I am directing the Federal Bureau of Investigation, working with each United States attorney, to convene a meeting to facilitate the discussion of strategies. There's a lot of gobbledygook, but here we go. For addressing threats against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff, and will open dedicated lines of communication for threat reporting, assessment, and response. Now, by the way, all that stuff is already against the law, all right? If there's a problem, you got local law enforcement. They're bringing in the feds to get involved in these school board meetings. It's totally crazy. The issue is still with us. Jim Jordan sent a letter. This is what we would call well, it's one hell of a letter. Take a look. I think he sent this to the FBI. We have learned from brave whistleblowers how, as a direct result of your directive, federal law enforcement is using counterterrorism resources to investigate protected First Amendment activity. One investigation alleged that the mom was a threat because she belonged to a right-wing moms group known as Moms for Liberty, and because she is a gun owner. That is wrong. You can't do that with the FBI. Let's meet the Moms for Liberty. They actually co-founded Moms for Liberty, both of them together. Tiffany Justice, welcome back, and Tina Deskovich, welcome back. You guys do not look like domestic terrorists, although, you know, looks don't mean everything. Obviously, you didn't do anything wrong. Tell us a little bit more about what you know. Do you know you were actually targeted by the FBI? First to you, Tiffany.
Yes, in fact, we do know that we were targeted by the FBI. Late in 2021, one of our moms came to us and said that an FBI field office had, in fact, reached out to her to ask her questions regarding speaking at a school board meeting. And then we did everything we could to make Judiciary Committee members aware of it in early 2022.
What was that experience like? What did she say about that interaction? Was it, what kind of questions did they ask?
You know, I think that it was clear that this might happen, but until it happens to you, I think you really don't know how to handle it, to be honest. I think it's terrifying in a lot of ways. No mom thinks that she's going to be making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the morning, working to get a babysitter for a 6 p.m. school board meeting, right? And then be called by the FBI the next day because she spoke out in defense and advocating for her children. So, understandably upsetting and, really against the First Amendment in the United States of America.
And Tina, something like that can cast a shadow over the group. I mean, Moms for Liberty, it sounds great, but now we know that the FBI is snooping around and sniffing around. I mean, that could arguably stigmatize you. And a lot of people would be like, I don't like this heat. Are you feeling any kind of heat?
We've been feeling heat since the day we launched, and it doesn't deter us or scare us a bit, to be honest. Moms know that our rights are being infringed. Parents know that. We know that our children are being harmed, and we are not going to be silenced. Our founders set up this government in a way and purposely put in the First Amendment the right to redress our government, to petition to redress our government. And, what Merrick Garland has done is he is trying to silence parents. He is trying to squash our speech. And that's where our power is in we the people, is our right to stand up and speak out against our government and organize and push back. And they are trying to silence us, and we're not going to take it.
This is still America, and we are allowed to speak out. Right now, you're under no restriction. You haven't been subpoenaed or anything like that. These are, reports. How do you feel going forward? You're still committed, obviously, to the mission, Tiffany.
Yeah, we believe in empowering moms to understand that they have fundamental rights to their children. Those rights were not given to us by the government, and the government cannot take those rights away. We believe that one of the most important things that you can do in America is have your voice heard by your local representatives. So this does not deter us from our mission or our course. Our moms are a threat to the education establishment, and that's what we've seen very, very clearly. We've seen citizen input being stifled in many different ways, from, shutting down citizen input from 3 to 1 minute or making us turn our T-shirts inside out, Greg. So, we'll just keep on doing what we do, which is standing up for our kids.
Please.
More evidence we're facing just an epidemic of violence and hate in this nation.
George, good morning. The numbers tell the story. From Friday through 9:30 last night, there were 312 gun violence incidents in the U.S., where 127 people were killed, at least 294 wounded, 72 hours in America. Stunning, chronic, epidemic gun violence.
We know the White House wants to address what happened on 2 fronts, including gun control.
They do, Robin, and you are right. The president and the first lady will be in Buffalo tomorrow to meet with victims' families and to try to begin the process of healing for this community and for the country. And the president, as we have heard, has labeled this a racially motivated act of white supremacy. But there is no question there will be fresh scrutiny here in Washington this week, not only on the debate over gun reforms, but also on the question of hateful rhetoric and on the politicians and the members of the media who have embraced racist fringe theories like replacement theory, which was espoused by the alleged Buffalo shooter. I think it's important for us all to remember that President Biden said he was inspired to run for president because of how former President Trump responded to white supremacists marching through Charlottesville, Virginia. Biden made this issue a real centerpiece of his campaign, and he has taken steps so far. He has launched the first ever national strategy to counter domestic terrorism, but advocates say it's simply not enough. They want to see this administration and the president put more political muscle behind this issue and the issue of guns. But we have seen this many times, Robin. Despite repeated efforts by some in Washington, there simply is no appetite from Republicans and some Democrats to enact meaningful gun reforms.
As you said, we have seen this many, many times.
I still can't imagine how this young man at 18 had so much hate. And it's not just against blacks. You know, the Jewish community is under attack. Yes. LGBTQ is under attack. Asian Americans are in this attack. Racism is no longer on the fringes. Racism is mainstream. And that is very, very, very scary to me.
This country, this country is under attack. 5 mass shootings since Friday. I mean, gun violence is as American as apple pie, the sports we watch, and the hot dogs we eat at those games.
Yes.
We have to admit that. We have to come to that realization.
And nowhere is safe. Can't go to a grocery store to pick up some strawberries. Can't go to a concert. Can't go to a movie. Can't go to school. Can't go to a place of work.
No, I heard
synagogue, a church.
I heard somebody in Buffalo. You're right, Nate. I heard somebody in Buffalo say this is a story that you see in other cities, not in ours. But now ours is. It is like a Russian roulette. No matter where you are, nothing feels safe to me. It doesn't seem like you're safe at the grocery store, the church, at the spa, at a movie theater, at a concert.
So many times we talk about unarmed young people of color being killed, but yet when you have these young confirmed white mass murderers, they always seem to be taken alive.
Don't the people have to speak up, though, and say we want this done? I know we keep saying we care about it, but I just think, where is the outrage of people saying to the people in power to say you've got to do something about this? I believe in First Amendment rights, too, of course, but First Amendment rights comes with some responsibility. And that always seems to be missing to me in this conversation.
Well, the interesting thing, Gail, is that the people have spoken in poll after poll.
Our hearts are heavy this Monday morning, as yet again an American community is in mourning, thanks to a madman who decided to take out his hate on innocent people doing the most mundane and routine of tasks, grocery shopping. It had been a beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon in Buffalo, New York. Women at the Tops store to buy dinner for their families, a retired police officer working security, when an 18-year-old who was known to authorities opened fire outside the store, first killing 3 people. That former cop we mentioned, 55-year-old Aaron Salter, jumped into action and opened fire in defense of others. He was unable to take out the gunman, however, who was wearing body armor. Salter was killed and died a hero. Inside the store, people started running for their lives. Can you imagine the terror? Can you imagine just trying to shop for your groceries and some lunatic is in there trying to kill you and your children? A dad hiding with his 8-year-old daughter in a freezer to escape the gunfire. 65-year-old Celestine Cheney was there with her sister, looking to pick up some shrimp for her husband and strawberries because she wanted to make strawberry shortcake. As the bullets started flying, she and her sister ran. Her sister made it out, but Celestine, a grandmother of 6, did not. When it was all over, 10 people were dead, 3 others hurt. Nearly all of the victims were black, many of them seniors. This guy was shooting down elderly people. He's a total coward. Their families are now planning funerals far too early as their broken-hearted community kneels in prayer. Little children spotted near the store holding hands as they walk down the street. Their innocence lost. Look at this picture. If you're just listening, go check it out on YouTube. And just remember, it's at the 2-minute mark of the show. Wow, you need to see this. It's 5 little children holding hands, just walking down the street together, linked in support of one another, of their community. One police officer seen bending down behind the crime scene tape to talk with young children outside the store. It's hard to see, but the little girl's shirt reads, "Love all beings." Oh my God, it's horrific. That is just horrific. We will not be naming the shooter on this program, consistent with our policy of not naming mass shooters, who in part are out for infamy, and we decline to help. He's pleaded not guilty. but he also left behind a trove of information, including a 180-page manifesto filled with racist and anti-Semitic commentary. The shooter was white, detailing how and why he picked his target. Some in the media have been quick to point fingers and even place blame on our friend and very popular Fox News host Tucker Carlson. It's outrageous. It's wrong, both factually and morally. Why do we have to go to that place immediately on these stories? Why can't we spend 2 fucking minutes mourning the people who are dead and trying to understand that we have insane people in this country? We have lunatics. It's a huge country. We're not going to be able to get rid of them all. It infuriates me. People have to inject their politics into everything. And this guy had a racist manifesto. There's no question. That doesn't make it Tucker Carlson's fault. Just stop it. Just stop it. There's the lunatic over at Rolling Stone. Her headline. This is a person who wrote for the New Yorker and was fired for wrongly claiming that an ICE worker had a Nazi tattoo on his arm. In fact, it was his platoon's sign from when he served our nation honorably in Afghanistan, trying to protect this lunatic so-called journalist who then tried to defame him when he went on to work for ICE. This woman now, or in between, she worked for Media Matters. Now she works for Rolling Stone, publishing a piece today, the headline of which was, "The Buffalo shooter isn't a lone wolf. He's a mainstream Republican." And yet, if you read the shooter's own words, he actually hated Fox News and he hated conservatism. But apparently that doesn't fit with the narrative these people want to sell.
Overwhelmed by the problems in the city, never lets up and shows no pity. Getting down to the nit and the grit, forced with decisions that may cause collisions. Messing with the flow of the universe, going from bad to worse. Now break it down. Growing up in the tough city, never showing no pity. Through all the stress and strife, from the city life, no more feeling pain. Take cover from the pouring rain. If you need some strong advice for the city life, breaking it down on the soulful sound that doesn't have an end while making amends. But never disputed by the FDA. All my party people say, hey, hey, hey. It's our time to blow your mind. Feel the groove. It's history in the making. We won't lose momentum, the outcome etched in stone. Never mind, let's rewind.
It's the unveiling of the rusty mechanism in full effect. The hip-hop dialect, push and eject, insert and play the cassette, son. Somebody asked for funk, we got it.
To capitalize on this franchise, not like the NYQB, breaking down barriers, the carrier of infinite possibilities, keeping my cool at 100 degrees at ease. This is my way to go, let my eyes see the things in front of me, make room for me to grow, just feel this vibe. Time to prove and show hip-hop, soul, and jazz inside of me. This is my way to go. This is my way. Never satisfy control before life takes its toll. Whatever the situation is life you're facing, just let me live. Going into overtime, and it's by design. Let me live. Reaching for the top of the pile. It's gonna take a while. On the paragraphs that I've stashed for this type of an occasion.
I'm just speaking through the way I'm allowed, so when y'all playing it loud, you can say that I'm proud. So everybody that supported us and down for the cause, have been around through this all, you at least deserve a round of applause.
I'm grabbing this microphone and I'll keep singing life looks full. Our music travels the world, we're gonna keep on start a revolution. Futures big, no hope for a solution. Firmly planted, taking a stance. Always looking for one more chance. Satisfy you.